Well, hello everyone, it's Pete here. In this video I'm going to be having a look at this GT Power X2 Pro dual charger. GT Power sent this to me to review, so a big thank you to them. I've been using this as my main charger for a few weeks now, so I've got a pretty good idea of the functions. As I was saying, it's a dual charger, so you can do two batteries at once and they don't have to necessarily be of the same type. It charges up to 6S Lipo and up to 12 amps if your batteries are high enough capacity to charge at that level. That's bigger than any batteries I've got. It's got a mode called FB Dis, which allows you to take some or all of the charge out of one battery and put it in another battery. That's really useful when you come back from an RC session with some full batteries and some empty ones, because it allows you to get the full ones down to storage charge pretty quickly. There's an app that goes with this, which is genuinely useful for keeping an eye on the status of your charge from another room. Having said that, don't go too far away from your batteries that are charging. It's got the ability to test motors and servos and also to power a tyre warmer, but I haven't got into that myself. Now I'll go into a fair bit of details on the various functions of this, so I've put skip points in if you want to get to the end quicker. So first of all, let's go back in time to when I first got this out of the box. So you've got the charger itself, reasonably chunky. Got the instructions. My one's got a UK plug, and got a couple of charging leads. And these are XT60 plugs on the end of those. So I'm going to have a good look through the instructions now. Yeah, I've fully absorbed all that, so let's get it plugged in. Yeah, I like the fashion designed lamp, very groovy. So on the front we've got the display. That button goes back a level or stops the battery charging. These go up and down through the selections. This one chooses which side you're using. This one starts the battery charging or goes into an option. Then you've got your XT60 plugs on the front here, so you can put your wire in there. If your battery's got an XT60 connector, you can plug it straight in there, but I want the batteries to be a bit further away from the charger, which I'll show you later. First thing I've done is to find the app for this. I've got Android, it's called X2 Pro. So within that, you've got this option firmware update in the settings. So I'm just going to see if that works. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that, it says firmware updating on there. Do not turn off the phone or exit the app. Right, so I left that running, it's finished. And if I do firmware update now, it says it's the latest version. So that's all done. So you can see you start off with lithium battery mode, you go through an OMH NiCad battery mode. If you go into that, then you get to choose which type of battery you're doing. So you can change that there. Come back a level. Lead acid battery mode. Then that's your battery meter. So what we can do here is save the parameters of your various batteries and call them back later. And in load data, that's where you call back the parameters you saved earlier. So the user set program, this is settings. So we go in there, you've got your cutoff voltages for Lipo and the different types of battery. So sensitivity, I'm not sure what that does. Temperature cutoff, not sure what waste time is. So safety time, you might have to increase this because you've got a very big battery or you're discharging a battery and it takes too long. You might need to set that up a bit. So also you can set the maximum capacity if you've got a bigger capacity than that. So you might want to set that higher if you're going from flat to full. Now I've already been in and switched key beep off because it's quite annoying. Not sure what that does. Then that's the factory reset. So there's a few more things and then you're back to Lipo. Now you'll probably need some adapters unless you're using XT60s. So you've got your cable there, which goes into a Deans. Then I've got this Deans to EC5 adapter, so you can get all these on eBay, and then that's good for my battery there. So your balance plug on the battery can go directly into this 4S will go into the lower part of this socket. But what it's better to do is get one of these little balance boards here, so it goes up to 6S, so that plugs in there. So then you plug your battery into the relevant socket there, and I'm also going to use an extension lead so I can use a battery safe box. So I actually charge the batteries in the garage, but just for demonstration purposes I'm going to do one in here. So that goes into the 4S socket there. Okay, so if I wanted to charge this battery here, just want to make sure this is on the right side, so that's over there. Lithium battery mode, so go into that. So it's already set to balance 4.5 amps at 4S. You could go higher, you could go to 5 amps with this. It's a 5200 milliamp, but I'm going to stick with 4.5 amps. If you wanted to change these, you can go through the options there. And you could change the battery there. So when you're happy that you've got the right parameters, you do a long press of that one. Okay, press to confirm. And we're off. Hey, the lights are quite groovy, aren't they? Okay, so I'm going to actually charge this properly in the garage in a bit, so I'm going to switch this off for now. So it's stop there. Let's have a look at the meter. On the meter it's got two screens, it's got the total voltage there, it's got the high and the low voltage of the cells, and then you can see the individual cells there. So to show you how to save the parameters of a battery to call back later. So you save data, so you choose which slot you're going to use, so slot 1, so let's say slot 1 is going to be an NIMH, and so that'll be 7.2 volts. Let's say 5000. So you save that screen, and then you get the second screen. So NIMH you can't change because you've already set that on the previous screen. So you're choosing whether this program is a charge or whatever it is. Okay, so let's say it's charge. You choose what current that's going to be at. See, that's 3.5 amps. You can save that, and then you can call that back on load data. So if you load back 1. Hold that down. So it's called back that data that I've just saved, so you can then set that to charge. Okay, so this is my little charging setup. I've got my Lipo safe boxes here. So I've got the charging cables in, I've got the adapter on the end there for the EC5. Got the balance boards plugged in here. And I've got some balance plug extensions here so they'll reach into the box. So I'm going to check you can charge batteries of different chemistries at the same time. So I've got a NIM battery this side, I don't need the balance lead, and also don't really need the safe box, but I'll put it in there anyway. Just have to darken down the camera so you can actually see the screen. So you just need to make sure we're on the right side, and that's that side. We need to go to NIMH NiCad mode. So you go into that, NIMH charge, current 3 amps, which is right. You could change that if you wanted to. I'll leave that at 3, long press that one. And that's started. Change to this side. So I've got a Lipo battery this side. I actually want to discharge this one. I charged it up the other day and then didn't actually get a chance to go out. So I want to discharge this now down to storage voltage. So I've got the adapter to EC5 on there. 4S balance wire there. So I can quickly just check this one is indeed full. Cell meter. Okay, so yeah, it's 4.15, 4.16, so yeah, pretty much full. So back to lithium battery mode. So we need to go to storage, so it should take it down to storage. Leave that at 3 amps, 4S, which is right. So long press that. 4, confirm. So I'll just leave that running. I can keep an eye on it through the app. So looking at the app, the NIM battery is at 100%, so I think that's going to finish in a second. Looking at the Lipo battery here, that's at 96%, so I think that's going to take a little while to discharge down to storage. Now getting power out of the battery does take an absolute age, as it does on most chargers that aren't dedicated dischargers, but there is an alternative on this one. So I'm just going to try out the FB Dis mode, so you can take some of the charge from a full battery and put it into an empty battery. So interestingly, the empty battery plugs into the back of the device instead of your AC, and then the full one plugs into the front, and some of the charge from this will go to this. So what I need to do is unplug the AC. So it's that one. Just wait for it to switch off. Okay, that's gone. So I need the connector there. So that then goes in the back. So it's powered back up. So I just need to swap over to this side. So we've got lithium battery mode. So FB Dis, so I'll plug this one into the front here. So I've got the balance cable there. Right, so that's that. So it's FB Dis, I can try 2 amps, and it's 4S, they're both 4S batteries, so I'll do a long press on that. Okay, so it's 4 and 4. So it says set input battery, so it's Lipo, and then we do 1, 2, 3, 4S. So get a long press on that. So we should see some of the power going from this one to this one. Okay, so I'm going to leave that going and keep an eye on it through the app. Okay, so it's been going just over 40 minutes and it's done 1300 mAh into the battery there. So I think it's a bit quicker than doing a normal discharge, and it sort of makes sense to use some of the excess charge you've got in a battery to put in another battery if you come back and you've got a full one and an empty one, sort of even up the charge in both of them. So yeah, it does seem like quite a good little function. Okay, so I just put this one on the battery meter. This one's up to 3.67. It was on about 3.4 before, so that's come up a fair bit. And this one's come down to 3.8, so sort of near storage. So yeah, has equaled up the charge quite nicely. I'm just going to try the FB dis mode again, but I'm going to use more amps this time to see how quickly it will discharge. So the default is 2. I'm going to go up to 4. I think, to my mind, so long as it doesn't discharge quicker than it would do in the car, then it can't damage the battery. So I've got a flat battery there, got the full battery in there. So let's start this. 4S. Also want to check if this stops discharging the battery once it gets down to storage, or if it goes down below that, so I'll keep an eye on it. Right, I don't know if you can see this, it's been going for 30 minutes and it's already done 2000 mAh, so it's pretty quick. So the battery's saying 8%, so I don't know if that means it's 8% until it gets down to storage. So I'm going to leave it and see if it stops, and then test both batteries and see what voltage we've got. Okay, so the app's still showing 6% battery left. It's done 2900 mAh. So the cells are way below storage, so I'm going to stop this now. I was thinking it might stop at storage, but it's discharged more than that. So I'm going to stop that there. I think if you're using this, you need to keep an eye on what's going on with it. You can also check on the display here, so you can see you've got 2900 mAh. You've got your cell levels there. So yeah, I'm going to stop this. Put back on the AC. Right, so this one's pretty much come up to storage level, so yeah, that's good. So this does seem to be a very useful function if you end up with a full battery and an empty battery, which quite often happens. It's an awful lot quicker than the normal discharge function on this and other chargers. Now, something I've noticed on this is you don't get the extended functions if you're on this side. Get lithium, NiCad, lead acid, cell meter, save load. So if you go onto this side, you go through the options, NMH, cell meter, and then you get this extended function. So it's in here that you've got things like the motor run and the tyre warmer. So these are functions I don't think I'm going to be using. I did read the instructions, I didn't quite understand it, to be honest. You're supposed to be able to test your servo, I think, on here, but generally I just set up a receiver and test it that way. Yeah, that's where these functions are if you're interested. So I've been using this for a few weeks now as my main charger. Previous to that, I was using this SkyR CT100 and also the SkyR CB6AC here. So the main advantage of this over this, for instance, is this one only goes up to 4S, this one will go up to 6S. Another advantage of this is the app is genuinely very useful because I'm sitting next door normally, so I can keep an eye on things. So you can actually use the app to start the charger going. You can set everything on here and you don't even have to press the button, so that's also another nice feature. So I think my favourite feature actually is that ability to discharge one battery into another. That's going to be very useful. If you've used a normal discharge function on a charger before, you'll know it does take absolutely ages. You can buy dedicated dischargers, which are also very quick, but that's another maybe 70 quid. So that is sort of built into this, as long as you've got an empty battery to discharge the battery into. So yeah, all in all, nice bit of kit. So I think at the moment in the UK, these are about £120. These are 50. So if you've only got 4S, then that's sort of better value, but then you haven't got those other functions like the discharge and all that. Now I'd say the instructions are not bad, but the English is a bit dodgy in places, so it's a little bit difficult to read. It's a bit difficult to understand some of the advanced functions, but you've got the grid of where all the options are. It's pretty useful. There is an online version of this as well you can look at. It's generally not too bad. So that's about it for this one. Definitely recommended if you use Lipos bigger than 4S, and definitely a few more nice features than a basic charger. Thanks again to GT Power for sending this over for me to have a look at. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.